Chapter 392, Yama Temple 2. These 3 styles of Overlord's fists were obtained by this immortal from a relic in the 9 Heavens Mirage realm, which was so dangerous that even though this immortal is a loose immortal, he almost couldn't get out. However, this immortal is certain that there are still the remaining 6 styles of Overlord fists there. According to this immortal's guess, that should be the place where the previous generation of Kangxia hegemony blood placed their legacy. If you have the invincible strength of the harmonization stage, I would suggest that you go and break into it. In the place where this immortal's legacy is, there is a map of that relic. Finally, this immortal hopes that you can help me find out the cause of my death when you reach the Mahayana stage, because this immortal's death is truly ***** to wrongful. In the final roar of grief and anger from the dawn-breaking scattered immortal, the image he left behind completely dissipated, and a teleportation array appeared in the same spot. A very small one that was only big enough for 10 people to travel in. Kangxia, Brahma Din, and Zijin were all stupefied at the moment, as they were all puzzled by Dawnbreaker Scattered Immortal's last words, identifying the cause of death. Brother, this broken Dawn Scattered Immortal seems to have died an extraordinary death. Little Gold grinned, his eyes filled with doubt. To be able to make a loose immortal curse out of his mouth after his death, it was enough to show how miserable he died in the first place, or how depressed he was. I've only heard that back then, after the dawn-breaking diffuse immortal was defeated by the demon sex patriarch. He went far away and then completely disappeared, and no one knows his whereabouts anymore. Van Din was also full of doubts. Kangxia was talking to Emperor Dan at the moment. The fall of the dawn-breaking scattered immortal is a mystery. No one in the cultivation world knows how he died. As if he disappeared all of a sudden. Only one of his close friends, because he had his soul jade slip. That's why the cultivation world learnt of his fall. Emperor Dan said in a deep voice, could it be that he was killed by the demon sect patriarch? Kangxia asked. Impossible. Emperor Dan shook his head. Although the Dawnbreaker Scattered Immortal was defeated by the demon sect master with an immortal weapon, he didn't have any grudges against the demon sect. And even the demon sect master mobilized the demon sect's disciples to find out the cause of the demon sect's death after the Dawnbreaker Scattered Immortal's fall, but in the end, he didn't have any luck. Emperor Dan laughed. The devil sects aren't all as shameless as the poison sect. At least the devil sect isn't the same as the 10,000 demon hall. Even when they fight with the disciples of the righteous path, they do so in an upright manner, and don't resort to any plots or tricks. Kangxia nodded. He knew that Dan Huang was right. In the Flood continent, the Devil sect had a good reputation. Although they still killed righteous disciples, they would never bully the small with the big, or even bully the small with the many. Since this is the case, then the death of Broken Dawn's Scattered Immortal worthy of speculation. Judging from the fact that his last words were even broken, and without any manners, his death was definitely not killed by someone. If he was defeated because of his strength, there is no reason for him to die unwillingly, Kangxia said. Not bad. And the fact that he asked you to find out the cause of his death means that even he himself doesn't know how he died, which makes it strange. Emperor Don's eyes were also filled with doubt. Forget it. This matter is out of my hands for now. Perhaps I can find out some clues in the inheritance land. However, he said that these 3 overlord fists were obtained from a relic in the 9 Heavens Mirage realm. That should be the relic that your old man went to back then, right? Kangxia asked. Not bad. Not only did my old man get the star-absorbing technique there back then, he also got a hegemony fist. And the other few hegemony fists were also in that relic. It's just that my old man didn't have the means to get them. Emperor Dan nodded. Is it dangerous there, according to what Dawnbreaker Scattered Immortal said? Can I really only enter there when I reach the invincible level of the harmonization stage? Kangxia asked. Dawnbreaker Scattering Immortal is right. Reaching the harmonization stage invincible level with your talent, coupled with the half-immortal artifact Heaven-Breaking Blade, your strength is definitely comparable to some of the Mahayana stage powerhouses, and only then will it not be dangerous to enter there. Emperor Dan said in a deep voice, so, for the time being, you'd better not think of any other Overlord fists. I understand. In fact, these 3 hegemony fists are currently enough for me to use as well. Kangxia nodded in understanding. All right, now go and take a look at the 3rd level of the test, left behind by the Dawn-Breaking Scattering Immortal. And when you have obtained his inheritance, then go and find a place to break through the Divine Separation stage. And from now on, you'll be considered a party of experts in the cultivation world, Emperor Dan said with a smile. Kangxia also revealed a confident smile. He greeted Zijin and Fan Din. The 3 of them walked into the teleportation array, and with a brush, disappeared into the hidden treasure tower. A dim, eerie, and terrifying atmosphere filled the entire space. This was a land of white bones, and on a mountain of white bones in the east, this majestic dark palace was situated. It was like an ancient ferocious beast that chose people to devour, and was glaring intently at the Kangxia trio. Is this place hell? Little Jin stepped on the white bones on the ground with a shocked expression. Amitabha Buddha, little monk feels a little creepy. Brahma Heart's scalp tingled for a moment. Kangxia was also shocked by the space in front of him. It was indeed like hell. There were ghastly white bones everywhere, as well as an eerie scent in the air. They walked towards the dark palace and saw a stone tablet erected at the entrance of the palace. Yama Palace. First the Yellow Springs Road, then the Naiho Bridge, and now the Palace of Hades. This dawn-breaking scattered immortal is really strange. No wonder others say that scattered immortals are all strange people. Emperor Dan was also a bit depressed, but they hastened to remind Kangxia to be careful. The Hall of Hades. I'd like to see if there's a Yama King in there. Humph. Kangxia coldly snorted. The dark palace on the white bones in the east gradually revealed its true appearance as Kangxia's trio approached. It was a palace that was not too big and not too small, somewhat similar to the palace where Kangxia's master teacher, the Elder of Law Enforcement, resided. Both of them were dark and gloomy, except that the Elder of Law Enforcement's palace appeared to be very majestic, whereas this one was eerie and terrifying. The aura in here also too terrifying, right? Could there really be a king of hell? Little Jin was a little apprehensive. His intuition told him that there was a terrifying existence in this palace before them, watching them with icy eyes. The same feeling was also noticed by Kangxia and Brahma Din. They glanced at each other, and both saw the gravity in each other's eyes. Let's go. It's a blessing that can't be avoided, Brahma Heart calmly said. Well, as it comes, it comes. Kangxia nodded his head, then transmitted his voice to Zijin to be cautious before walking into the dark palace first. The door of the palace was open, and it was pitch black inside. But for Kangxia's trio, this bit of darkness blocked their vision, and they were still able to clearly see everything inside the palace. The darkness of the palace was like a palace, surrounded by gold and blue splendor. On the 8 huge stone pillars, there was a mysterious pattern carved, and in the darkness, it flickered with a faint light. At the top of the hall, there was a short ladder, as if there were only 100 floors. On top of the ladder, there was a dark stone chair, on top of which sat a skeleton without the slightest bit of flesh and blood, which opened to green eyes and stared at the Kangxia trio who had entered. Without the slightest hesitation, Kangxia's trio was instantly attracted to this skeleton, as it emitted a very powerful aura, and that massive pressure made the trio feel a wave of shock. Is this guy alive? Why do I feel that it's even more powerful than those 5 peak harmonization stage fellows that eldest brother drove away back then? Little Gold was shocked. I think this guy has the strength of a conjunction stage Seal King level. After Van Din was shocked, his face instantly became grave, and he said in a deep voice, "I'm afraid you guessed right. He does have the strength of a conjunction stage sealed king. We're in trouble this time." Kang Tia also said in a deep voice, his eyes filled with gravity. He felt that this was definitely the most dangerous time he had ever encountered. With the strength of the three of them now, facing a combined stage-sealed king powerhouse was almost a dead end. Have we been tricked by the Dawnbreaker Scattered Immortal? If this is the third level of the test, who would be able to pass it? Zijin was filled with atmosphere. The Dawnbreaker Scattering Immortal had placed a prohibition within the Immortal Mansion that only allowed out-of-body stage powerhouses to enter, but the problem was that no matter how strong the out-of-body stage powerhouses were, they couldn't defeat this combined stage-sealed king-level skeleton in front of them. Even if Zijin and Van Din had broken through to the divine separation stage at this moment with their strength, they could at most fight against a mid-conjugation stage powerhouse, and would already be undefeatable when facing a peak conjugation stage powerhouse, let alone a conjugation stage sealed king powerhouse.